Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the first topic of our third module. In our previous sessions, we explored the legislative machinery of Congress. Today, we turn our attention to the branch of government that puts those laws into action, the executive branch. We are going to examine the presidency, its functions, powers, and the constitutional logic that defines it. When we talk about the President of the United States, we are often tempted to think of a king or a supreme commander. But from an analytical perspective, the presidency is a much more complex institution. Article 2 of the Constitution establishes a single-person executive to provide energy, direction, and capacity for action. This was a deliberate choice by the founders. They needed a government capable of acting decisively on a national scale, but they were terrified of recreating the monarchy they had just fought against. So, they created an office that is powerful yet constrained by a web of checks and balances. The presidency is not just one job. It is three distinct roles wrapped into one person. First, the president is the head of state, serving as the symbol of national unity and continuity. Second, they are the head of government, driving the political agenda and managing the administration. Third, they are the commander-in-chief, holding supreme authority over the armed forces. This combination makes the presidency the focal point of the American political system, concentrating symbolic expectations and responsibility for results. Let's break down the specific functions of this office. The primary duty is executive, administration, and implementation. The Constitution commands the president to take care that the laws be faithfully executed. This means managing the massive federal bureaucracy. Without presidential coordination, the implementation of public policies would be fragmented and inconsistent. To do this, the president uses the power of appointment to name cabinet members, ambassadors, and agency heads. However, this power is not absolute. Many appointments require the advice and consent of the Senate, which acts as a check on executive ambition. Next, we have the legislative functions. Although the Constitution gives legislative power to Congress, the president is a key player in the process. We can see this in three ways. First, through agenda setting. The president acts as an agenda entrepreneur, using speeches and public pressure to define what problems Congress should solve. Second, through the veto power. The ability to reject a bill is a powerful tool, not just when used, but as a threat that forces Congress to negotiate. Third, through signing statements. When signing a law, a president may issue a statement interpreting how they intend to enforce it, subtly influencing the law's meaning. Then there are the diplomatic functions. In foreign policy, the presidency is often the dominant actor because the nature of international relations requires speed, secrecy, and continuity. The president negotiates treaties and recognizes foreign governments. However, the Senate must ratify treaties, making foreign policy a shared power. In practice, presidents often use executive agreements to bypass this requirement, which is a constant source of tension. Finally, we have the military functions. As commander-in-chief, the president commands the military to ensure unity of command. But here is the constitutional dilemma. While the president commands the troops, only Congress has the power to declare war. This was designed to prevent one person from dragging the nation into war. Yet, in modern times, we have seen presidents initiate military actions without formal declarations, relying on broad authorizations or their own constitutional interpretation. Now, with all this power, how do we prevent tyranny? The system relies on checks and balances. These are not just legal hurdles, they are political mechanisms. Congress controls the budget, meaning they can starve executive programs of funding. They also perform oversight through hearings and investigations, and possess the ultimate weapon of impeachment for serious misconduct. The judiciary exercises judicial review, determining if executive actions are constitutional. This judicializes political conflicts, making courts the referee of presidential power. Public opinion and media act as informal checks. A president without public support loses the political capital needed to persuade Congress. The media shapes the narratives that can erode or bolster this authority. The bureaucracy itself is a limit. The vast federal agencies have their own routines and legal mandates, and they can slow down or resist presidential directives that lack clarity or resources. In conclusion, the American presidency is designed to be energetic without being hegemonic. It is a center of leadership that must constantly negotiate with Congress, the courts, and the public to achieve its goals. It is a powerful engine, but one that is bolted to a very heavy chassis of constitutional constraints. Thank you for your attention. In our next session, we will look deeper into the administrative state that the president oversees.